Decluttering can be a challenging process due to the many different reasons we hold on to our belongings. Let's explore why letting go of things is often so difficult and explore some insights that may reflect personal experiences. One of the main obstacles to decluttering stems from emotional attachments to the money spent on the items. For example, consider a high-end kitchen gadget that was purchased to make cooking easier. Although it looked promising, it now sits buried in the back of a cupboard, unused. Or think about a fancy camera lens purchased for a photography hobby that has faded. Every time someone sees these items, they are reminded of the money invested and feel a sense of loss if they go unused. For many people who are careful about their spending, this feeling is especially strong. Throwing away an item is like throwing away a portion of their budget. Even if an item hasn't been used in years, the thought of throwing it away can seem like a waste. Over time, it becomes clear that this is a sunk cost, money spent and gone. The focus should shift to whether the item is still useful today. If not, it may be more profitable to sell or donate it, giving it the opportunity to be useful to someone else. Another common reason for holding on to items is the belief that they have been put to good use. For example, someone might keep an expensive piece of office furniture, even though it is no longer needed, simply because it was once a valuable addition to their workspace. This mindset often leads to keeping items longer than necessary, based on the idea that their past utility somehow justifies their continued presence. With these psychological barriers removed, one can begin to make more intentional decisions about what to keep and what to discard, ultimately leading to a more organized and satisfying living environment. Life is a journey of ever-changing passions. Whether it's a passion for restoring classic cars, a fierce commitment to yoga, or a deep immersion in bird watching. It's easy to get caught up in a hobby for a while, owning special tools, equipment, or gadgets, and devoting a lot of time to it. However, enthusiasm can change, and these once-loved items may fall into disuse. Deciding whether to part with these possessions can be difficult, as the thought of returning to the hobby one day lingers. It's like someone who has invested heavily in fine cooking utensils and exotic ingredients, only to find their interest shifting to photography after a few months. The cooking utensils remain in the kitchen, rarely touched. But the idea of returning to culinary pursuits makes it hard to let go. And someone may have amassed a collection of fine wicker items, but now focus on landscape gardening. The wicker items, although no longer used, are kept in the hope of rekindling the hobby someday. This common struggle reflects a larger reality. People often move between hobbies, and it is a natural part of life. It is perfectly normal to let go of items associated with past interests as new passions emerge. Holding on to things in anticipation of their return in the future can lead to clutter and disorganization. Accepting the fluid nature of personal interests and allowing yourself to move on can be liberating. When an item no longer fits a current passion, you can let it go or find a new home for it. This mindset helps maintain a clear and organized space while respecting the natural evolution of interests and pleasures. The allure of free stuff is hard to resist, and it's easy to fall into the trap of hoarding things just because they're free. Whether it's a free tote bag from a conference, a sample of gourmet coffee at a local fair, or a promotional mug from a store opening, the excitement of getting something for free can quickly turn a house into a mess. What starts as a small collection of free stuff can easily grow into a mountain of items that are rarely, if ever, used. For example, imagine someone who attends a lot of community events and ends up with a bunch of promotional items like keychains, reusable water bottles, and branded notebooks. Over time, these seemingly insignificant items can pile up, taking up space and adding to the clutter. It's not just the physical space these things take up, but also the mental space they take up, as they become a constant reminder of unnecessary possessions. Gifts can present a similar challenge. Often we feel obligated to keep items given to us by friends or family, even if they don't fit our tastes or needs. For example, Consider receiving a handmade ornament that, while well-intentioned, doesn't fit your home decor or personal style. The emotional weight of potentially offending the gift giver can make it difficult to part with such items. However, keeping these gifts indefinitely, especially when they serve no real purpose, only prolongs the clutter. Coming to a point of clarity about the true value of these items is essential. It's okay to appreciate the gesture behind a gift or free item without feeling obligated to keep it forever. Realizing that it's more beneficial to throw away items that won't be used than to keep them out of guilt or obligation can help keep your living space more organized and functional. The same principle applies to impulse purchases or sale items. If they don't serve a real purpose, it's better to avoid unnecessary hoarding and focus on what actually adds value to your life. The tendency to keep items just in case can often lead to a surprising accumulation of unused possessions. It's common to hold on to various things with the hope that one day they'll be useful or that a creative idea will emerge to repurpose them. However, this hopeful outlook frequently results in a collection of items that simply gather dust. For instance, someone might keep a stack of old magazines, convinced they'll find a need for the information or inspiration they contain at some point. Or consider a garage full of spare parts and broken tools, all stored with the intention of fixing something or using them in a future project. Despite the good intentions, these items often remain untouched and only add to the clutter. This phenomenon isn't just about physical space. It's also a reflection of how we manage our resources and intentions. Every item kept with the hope of future utility is space that could be better used. As time passes, the likelihood of actually utilizing these possessions diminishes, making it important to periodically assess their real value. Addressing this tendency involves more than simply clearing out physical space. It's about reassessing our expectations and recognizing when it's time to let go. Embracing a more intentional approach to managing possessions can lead to a more organized and fulfilling environment, free from the burden of unused items. In the past, the allure of discounted items often led to unnecessary purchases. Take the allure of discounted kitchen appliances or office supplies, for example. It's tempting to buy a high-end blender on sale for a fraction of its original price, or a top-of-the-line ergonomic chair at a huge discount. The initial excitement of saving money can quickly turn into regret when these items end up gathering dust on the shelf, unused and forgotten. A friend of mine regularly buys kitchen appliances just because they're on sale. They can end up with a collection of items like popcorn makers, ice cream makers, and waffle makers, all of which are rarely used. The idea of saving money on these appliances may seem like a good deal, but the reality is a cluttered kitchen and wasted space. In the tech space, rushing to buy the latest gadgets during a flash sale can lead to overbuying. Imagine someone buying multiple smart home devices during a flash sale, only to find that they are rarely used or are incompatible with their current setup. The perceived savings become irrelevant when the devices sit unused and take up valuable space. This tendency to overbuy in the hope of saving money can also apply to bulk purchases of non-perishable items. For example, buying office supplies in bulk during a clearance sale can result in a surplus of pens, notebooks, and binders, many of which may not be used. While the intention is to save money in the future, the result often includes excess items that clutter up the workspace and eventually need to be discarded. The key to effective shopping lies in balancing the excitement of a purchase with practicality. It is important to evaluate whether a discounted item will actually be used and appreciated. Exploring how childhood experiences influence adult behavior can reveal interesting patterns, especially when it comes to managing possessions. For example, consider someone who grew up in a household where they were rarely allowed to choose their own toys or games. This lack of control during their formative years may lead adults to compulsively collect collectibles or hobbies, such as rare action figures or vintage board games, as a way to compensate for missed opportunities. Their homes may become cluttered with these items, many of which are never used but are kept for pleasure or nostalgia. On the other hand, imagine someone whose childhood environment was filled with excess, such as parents who hoarded a lot of household items, from outdated electronics to too many kitchen utensils. This person may subconsciously respond by becoming a minimalist, carefully organizing their belongings and trying to avoid any form of clutter. They may adopt a minimalist lifestyle, motivated by a desire to escape the chaos they experienced growing up. Understanding these behaviors often requires digging into a person's past. For example, someone may have difficulty letting go of old technology, like an old camera or outdated gadget, because they remember a time when their family couldn't afford the latest technology. This attachment may stem from a desire to keep things that were once unattainable. These hidden influences can help individuals better understand their accumulation or minimalist tendencies. Recognizing these patterns can help them make more informed decisions about their possessions, ultimately leading to a more organized and purposeful living space. In a culture driven by consumerism and the desire to fit in, there's a pervasive pressure to constantly accumulate more possessions. This societal influence subtly nudges individuals toward collecting items far beyond their actual needs, all in the name of keeping up with trends or achieving a certain image. Consider the impact of social media on our purchasing habits. Platforms filled with influencers showcasing the latest fashion, gadgets, or home decor create an environment where the latest trends are constantly in our faces. This relentless stream of newness encourages people to buy and collect items, often leading to an overabundance of goods that serve little practical purpose beyond fleeting satisfaction. For instance, someone might feel compelled to update their wardrobe with each new season's fashion, driven by the fear of missing out or appearing outdated. Similarly, the allure of the newest tech gadgets can lead individuals to upgrade their devices regularly, despite their existing ones still functioning perfectly. This cycle of acquisition not only contributes to clutter, but also fosters a mindset of disposability and excess. Breaking free from this cycle requires a conscious effort to prioritize what truly matters and to challenge the impulse to conform to external pressures. By embracing a more intentional approach to consumption, individuals can reclaim their space, reduce unnecessary clutter, and focus on what genuinely adds value to their lives. In a world where convenience drives consumption, clutter can easily creep in. For example, a person may be tempted to buy trendy home decor items from a clearance sale. What starts out as a few decorative items can quickly turn into an entire room filled with decorative pillows, wall hangings, and vases that don't necessarily fit with the overall design of the home. These items, while initially appealing, may eventually be stored away or forgotten. Without an effort to manage and declutter, these items will continue to accumulate. Taking the time to consider why certain items are kept can provide valuable insights. For example, a person may keep a bunch of promotional workout gear they received from various fitness classes, even though they rarely use it. The emotional value or anticipation of future use is often more important than practical considerations. Effective decluttering is not just about physical space, but also about understanding why you keep certain items. By addressing these motivations and making informed decisions about what to keep, people can better manage their possessions and create a more organized living environment. Each upcoming video will delve into different aspects of simplifying your life and making space for what really matters. If this topic resonates with you, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all new content. Looking forward to sharing more insights next week.